You're listening to Inside Lebo, a podcast giving you an inside look at Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, produced by Mount Lebanon's Public Information Office.
Hello and welcome to the 50th episode of Inside Lebo. I'm your host, Assistant Municipal Manager and Municipal Planner Ian McMeans.
And I'm Rachel Windsor, Assistant Public Information Officer and Senior and Online Editor.
For our 50th episode today, we're coming to you in a video format. So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of the other platforms, you can check out our YouTube channel to see this show live and in video, which is pretty cool that we're trying something new. So our guest today for our 50th episode is Amanda Gillen, the Board of Trustees President for the Mount Lebanon Historical Society.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting and a privilege to be the 50th episode guest. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're glad to have you here. And so just to put out there at the beginning of the episode, if you've been following our social media all week, you've been seeing that we've been posting trivia questions, which we will have Amanda answer at the end of the episode. But to start us off, why don't you just tell us a little bit about the Historical Society's mission?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I've been involved with the Historical Society for the past 6 years. The mission of the Historical Society is pretty straightforward and simple, but important. It's about preserving and interpreting the history of Mount Lebanon, of our town. And to do that, we actively collect objects and artifacts and archival materials, which are really important, that help tell the story of how Mount Lebanon came to be and everything that's happened from then till now.
Great. So, not to put you too much on the spot, but can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Historical Society?
I absolutely can, and I double-checked my dates to make sure I had everything correct. The Historical Society as a concept, as an organization, was formed in 1998, so it goes back pretty far. For the first, decade or so, we were conceptual in that we didn't have a physical space. So we would do some exhibit work at the library, host talks, co-host and present programs, which we still do with the library. But then in 2009, we acquired the basement space, or we're able to rent the basement of the building that we're currently in on Washington Road, directly across from Southminster Church. So we had that basement space, and that let us start actually building collections and collecting materials. And that was 2009 until 2014, which is when we made an agreement and an arrangement to actually purchase the building that we're in, which gave us a very important physical presence on Washington Road. We are fortunate, I think, and have worked hard to have a physical building and a space, because a lot of local historical societies don't have the privilege of a designated space. So that gives us room for programming and exhibits and events like fundraisers and things that we're doing, a place to start our walking tours and just to gather for the community and have all kinds of different events. So it's been an evolution over 20-ish years or so, and we're pretty proud of what we've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, that's amazing. And actually, since you brought up exhibits, that was going to be one of our questions. Could you tell us a little bit about current or future exhibits that you guys are hosting?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So we're just closing down the exhibit we've had up for a while now. Rediscovered and unpacked, I think it was titled 50 Years of Mount Lebanon History Through Objects. It was on display since over this past year. And we have a great team. We actually recently got a number of new volunteers who we put out a call to the community, and people wanted to step up and help research and write the exhibition text. So we're working on one that will open either later this year or early next year, celebrating the anniversary of Lincoln Elementary. It's 100 years for Lincoln Elementary in 2025. So we've actually reached out to the school, and we have some great things in our own collection, and then I believe we'll be able to bring in some loan things as well to kind of tell the story of Lincoln. So there are a lot of school anniversaries coming up, and we want to try to celebrate those. So that's something you'll see fairly soon in the future.
Nice.
Exciting.
Yeah, that's really cool. The current exhibit, I know one of the most fascinating things was the old medical kit that the doctors used to have to take around, because this was all farmland back in the day, and you didn't have hospitals or things like that. You had visiting doctors go house to house, and there was a kit that had doctors' materials. I thought that was just fascinating.
It was right
personally.
there. I think it's still out actually for now. If you haven't seen it and want to see it, front and center. Those are the kinds of things. It's exciting when community members or people who have moved away and might have something related to Lebo kind of bring it back to us and put those things in storage and are able to pull them out and use them to tell stories like that, which is really fun. Yeah.
That is. So do you have, in addition to the exhibits, do you have any other big events coming up soon?
We do. We have a couple of talks and our walking tours. So we run walking tours of different Lebo neighborhoods every summer. Those have been selling out, which is amazing. We did a couple of versions of the second grade walking tour. So all our Lebo second graders, do this program during the school year, and we opened that up for families. So did a couple of those this year. We'll bring those back. You can find a couple of upcoming talks and programs with the library on our website on the events tab. But the biggest thing that's happening is the annual fundraiser, which is coming up on, I'm going to forget the date. It's Thursday, September 25th, I believe. I should have that written down in front of me, but it is our biggest fundraising event of the year. It is a really fun party, I have to say. It happens at the History Center. We have a tent and we have refreshments, and it's just a really fun community event for us. It also really raises the dollars that we use to keep the History Center operating for the next year. We are not part of the township. We're not affiliated with Mount Lebanon. We are an independent nonprofit organization, entirely volunteer, staffed and run. Our board, all of our guides, everybody who helps lead programs are volunteer. And so, paying the bills, literally the lights and the facilities itself. All of that funding, for the most part, comes mainly from this fundraising event. It's a great party. There are some tickets still available. We have sponsors. We're really grateful for the support, and it lets us thank the community and also sort of throw a party and an event that, makes the History Center relevant in the town. It's just really fun. Last year we had a beautiful night. We had a tent and people out front and people slowing down and asking what was going on. And I feel like it really helps to raise the profile of the Historical Society and also give people a really nice time. So if anyone is interested, we're still selling tickets. You can find them on our website, and every dollar goes to support the Historical Society and our mission.
And just in case some of our listeners might not be aware, what is your website?
It is www.lebohistory.org. So really straightforward, and there's a lot of good information on there about Mount Lebanon. There's historical information, and then, as I said, you can find our programs and events there. Thank you.
Yeah. And actually something that the Public Information Office uses a lot is your website to get the photos from old historical photos around Mount Lebanon, and we do the Throwback Thursday on social, which people it's very popular.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, could you tell us a little bit about that? How does the archival process work for Mount Lebanon Historical Society for collecting these photos and videos and actually distributing it and organizing the collection?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we have items that are already digitized that are on the website. We have others. We also have a lot of hard copy photos and documents that aren't digitized that could be. I think the thing to say is if anybody is looking for anything in particular or wants to reach out to us or do any research, you can email info@lebohistory.org. That's our general email address. That's also on the website. You can call us, and there are many of us who check the email, and someone who has some expertise in that area or can help out will reach back out and help you to come in. And sometimes people are looking for specific things, and we see if we have them. Other times somebody might want a photo of a trolley or something in Mount Lebanon, or looking for a particular street, and we look and see what we have. Things can be digitized because we're volunteer. We have a collections and exhibits committee, but we also bring in interns to help us. So we have a wonderful intern now who's been thinking about digitizing more of our collections. We want things to be accessible. Actually, a lot of the work, so the History Center building, the first floor has been opened, and that's where we have our exhibits and programs. The second floor has been still a work in progress, but we, in the past year or two, have dealt with the facilities so that we actually have climate control and great storage for a lot of the archival materials that have been put away. So we're moving toward accessibility and moving toward having things be very easily available for the public. But if anybody's looking for anything specific or have questions, you can reach out to us through that info email, and we'll get back to you with whatever we can find.
Great. And you mentioned that you're an all-volunteer organization. So if someone wants to become a volunteer, do they just send you an email, give you a call? What's the process for
Any
that?
of those. Honestly, we're always looking for people who have different expertise and just want to get involved. As I said, we put out a call to see if anybody wanted to get involved with the collections and exhibits, and we had some great new people sign up. You can email that same info line, or you can call us and just say, hey, I'm Amanda, and I'd like to volunteer, and someone will be in touch and talk about sort of what the opportunities are. There's a lot of different things people can do. If anybody out there has marketing or development experience, that's something we definitely could use, because that's, raising the profile of the Historical Society and marketing what we're doing is really important. You all help with that. Everybody helps. But if anybody wants to get involved, just send an email to that info address and just let us know. I think we're also trying to be a little more intentional about recruiting volunteers, so putting out sort of specific calls for help in different ways. Or just stop in and see us. We're open. I should have said that sooner. Thursday nights from 6 to 8, and then every Saturday from 9 until 3. There's always a couple of volunteers in there, and you can just stop in and chat and see what it's all about.
Great. And what about if somebody wants to be a board member? Is the process similar? Just reach out and talk to you, or is there something more involved in that?
Yeah, I think we are open to that. We have a couple of open board slots, and one, I think, nice way to see if it's a good fit is to come by and just chit-chat with a volunteer, and then I or somebody else on the board would be happy to grab coffee or, just sit and talk a little bit about what it entails, what it involves. We meet every other month. I mean, it's an active working board of volunteers, so it's a board where we all pitch in and do the work. But if anybody is interested, they can absolutely either stop in or reach out, and we'd be happy to talk to them and see if it's a good fit, if they want to get involved.
Perfect.
Great. Well, that's some wonderful information on the Mount Lebanon Historical Society. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll be back with our trivia questions for Amanda on Lebo history that I know some of you have been following along on our social media pages and chiming in with your thoughts on what the answers are. So we'll be back momentarily. Welcome back to Inside Lebo. We're here today with Amanda Gillen, the Board of Trustees President of the Mount Lebanon Historical Society. In the first half of the show, Amanda talked a lot about the history of the Historical Society and of Mount Lebanon. You can find out more at lebohistory.org, and they have a big fundraising event coming up with tickets still available. You can check out the website or email info@lebohistory.org to find out more about that. So now, without further ado, the moment everyone's been waiting for, our Lebo history trivia questions. So I will kick it over to my co-host Rachel to ask the first one.
Okay, so Amanda, can you tell us what is the oldest school still in operation in Mount Lebanon?
The oldest school still in operation in Mount Lebanon is Washington Elementary. There are some notes here from one of my volunteer colleagues. So Ammons Avenue School was on Washington Road in Cedar, and that closed when Washington Public School opened in January 1923. Fun fact, on opening day, students carrying small American flags paraded along Washington Road from the old school to the new school, and then high school classes were added to the new school in 1928. So it goes way back. It's fun.
That is. So the building where Jade Grill is now on Washington Road has a very unique look to it. What was originally in that building?
One of my husband's favorite local restaurants. Jade Grill was originally the Commonwealth Trust Company of Pittsburgh. That building was originally built as a bank, but that's actually the second building to sit on the site. The original was in 1924, and the current structure that we eat dinner in is from 1938. A night deposit box is located on the front, and above the door is a bronze relief of an eagle that is now painted red. So it's a beautiful building, worth a look, and certainly fun when you go inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
So something that I see as an employee in the municipal building, but other people might not know about. What is the motto that's found above the main entrance to the Mount Lebanon Municipal Building?
I didn't know about this, actually. It's very cool. And the motto is Wisdom in Government. Two designs for the motto were considered, evidently. One was a colonial style that wasn't chosen. They finally decided on an Art Deco type design, which does fit the building, which was built in 1930. If you go in the foyer and you look up, there's a dedication on the wall to the veterans of the World War. This is prior to World War II, so it's talking about World War I, hoping probably that was the only World War they would reference. The seal of Allegheny County, the Commonwealth of PA, and the Great Seal of the United States are also represented. So that's a very inspiring thing, I think, to walk by every day. Yeah.
It is. It's really cool walking into the building, and your eyes are kind of naturally drawn up, and even within the municipal building, I'm not an architect, so I'm going to try and not flub my way through architecture terms, but they kind of use the motif of the cedar leaf that's our municipal logo. Even if you look at the light standards, all kind of have that same kind of cedar leaf-ish look to it.
I have to look.
Yeah, it's really cool how they designed the interior of the building when it was done, and the sort of atrium in the front is just awe-inspiring every time you walk in.
I'll digress for just 1 second if I can. and just say that on the Historical Society website, starting in 2020, we started doing videos instead of our annual event because we were all in our homes. The one in 2020 was a 100-year, sort of a 1920 take, and Louise Sturgis, who used to be executive director of Pittsburgh History and Landmarks, Mount Lebanon resident, did a wonderful kind of video tour of some Mount Lebanon architecture. So if you're interested in that, if anybody is, you could find that on our website, because I'm like you, I dabble, but I like to sort of know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, I guess it's my turn for a question then. So what Washington Road business is currently in the building with the gargoyles?
This is the building where my daughter is currently working right this minute. It's Mount Lebanon Floral, one of my favorite shops in Mount Lebanon, certainly. It's a beautiful building, inside and out, actually. So fun fact, you can technically only be considered a gargoyle if water flows from the mouth. So it's not maybe officially a gargoyle. Technically, the Mount Lebanon floral statues are grotesques as they have no water running out, although it would be very cool if they did. That building also has a false chimney pot, and it was originally built as a freestanding restaurant but became a flower shop in 1951. It is the oldest continuously operating business in Uptown. So hooray for Mount Lebanon Floral.
Yeah.
So last one, what is the famous wooden relic of Mount Lebanon history that's found in the display case of the lobby of the municipal building?
The famous relic is a gavel made from one of the cedar trees of Lebanon that was planted by Reverend Clokey, which is how Mount Lebanon got its name. About 1850, Reverend Clokey brought back 2 cedar of Lebanon trees from the country of Lebanon and planted them in front of his home on Bower Hill Road. Clokey Avenue off of Bower Hill Road is actually named for Reverend Clokey. And we have a gavel as well at the Historical Society, and there is a third, correct, that is at a church, we think, right?
I believe it's at one of the churches.
Actually, we don't know how many were originally made, but 4 gavels exist today, one at the municipal building, one at the Historical Society, one with the school district, and then the Mount Lebanon Evangelical Presbyterian Church has the 4th. So, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Amanda, and thank you for being willing to be our guest on our 50th episode. I hope everyone listening and watching enjoyed the change up here for the video format. This was our first time, so we'll see if we bring it back in the future. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to this episode of Inside Lebo.
And that's it for this edition, produced by Carrie Monyo, with music by Drew Monyo and graphics by Chris Lieber.
Yes, and don't forget to check out lebohistory.org for more information on the Historical Society and mountlebanon.org for everything you need related to the municipality. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back with another episode of Inside Lebo.
Thanks for listening to Inside Lebo, produced by Mount Lebanon's Public Information Office. Learn more about all things Lebo at mountlebanon.org or by following our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages.